Today we're heading north on the other side of the fjord, the one by the plant, the big plant. Maybe we can pick up some zinc along the way. And maybe not. We're across from the Craft Museum. That's where we were yesterday. And the pipes go up. And that's the power plant that we visited. Well, we stopped for some gas and it's on sale for only $8.80 a gallon. Well, we're coming into town where the museum is. And if we can find it, you'll see it next. We came down toward the end of town, a little ferry boat there, and we found the museum. It's the Hardanger Folke Museum, I assume. We'll check it out. Certainly in a pretty location. Look at this nice couple taking pictures.
Wow.
They look familiar. Inside the museum, they've got some fiddle cases. Really interesting. They look like little coffins. And these fiddle cases are from the 1700s. Wow. And they were for female fiddle players, and they said they sort of disappeared. I don't know what that means. And fiddling was an activity that became reserved for men. And I imagine this would be a record that Jim would want. Columbia gramophone player. And you can fiddle around with it. Now that is a really good looking record player.
The bottom, a representative of weather.
It all tells you exactly where they're from.
Yeah, like to us, they all look very similar, but let's see.
See, I look at these and I think of Happy Louie, and my mother used to make outfits for them to wear in the polka band. They still wear some of these uniforms, and we saw some of this jewelry that they wear around their necks in the jewelry store. Sort of looks like maybe the king and the queen, and then the rest of the people would wear these other little hats. Really some nice fancy things. They've got some really neat boxes here and some furniture from a long, long time ago. Look how neat those chairs are. Wow. Take a close up of some of these. Oh, and let's take a look at this chair. Real craftsmanship. Wow. Somebody's very good at what they do. And making these things. Really good examples of some homemade items that they would use to dance with the fiddle and the accordion. And here's a seating area overlooking the fjord. A beautiful setting. Well, if you want to fiddle around, this is the place. You see anyone with a Stradivarius name on it? They got some really interesting cases for these fiddles too. Certainly one of the first clarinets, and it came to Norway as a military musical instrument. And it's part of the folklore, and it was used as a fiddle in weddings. And over here, kind of an old drum. And over here, they've got a lot of really old, neat accordions. Wow, these are old. These are one-string instruments. Broken, I'm not sure what that means. It's played on with a bow, and it was used for teaching songs and hymns in schools and churches during the 19th century. Now we can hear some of the fiddle music in the background as we look at these. These are really fancy. We're coming out of the museum on the 3rd floor, going to work our way down. Let's see what we see. We'll follow the road as it comes down through the town. And the road kind of comes up and goes around, and here comes another ferry boat. Very interesting. And as the ferry pulled in, we climbed up the hill. See some of the really old buildings that are at the top. This is inside the little house from the 1820s. And we go up the steps here, and there's a 2nd floor to it. And that's the chimney. When we get downstairs, you'll see where the fireplace is. You come downstairs, there's where the fireplace is, and here's where you keep the wood. Here's that 2nd house, and I see a sled that looks like one that I own. I think it's either I'm getting really old, or I think it was made before me. Not sure how they hung these plants or what they are. I really do like that sled, and they haven't changed much over the years. Well, they have now. And they have a pretty good looking bed here. I think they need a mattress. This must be a duplex because we're over on the other side. And this one's somewhere around the 1900s. Yep, they even had a sewing machine here. Well, those are a couple of really interesting homes, or houses. This is the house in the summer, and here it is, let me guess, in the winter. That was an interesting visit of the museum. Saw a lot of the old culture, saw a lot of instruments, and a lot of clothing. Pretty cool. Well, we came down the hill and we're stopping at the hotel. Has a date on it of 1722. I think it's been rebuilt a few times or something. Pretty area. It's definitely a historical hotel. Well, there's no lunch being served, so we're going to have to head down the road. This is a very historic old hotel.